I was tagged by NonnaGrace channel to do a bucket list. And I only have like 3 or 4 things on it that I want to talk about. But anyway, the first one that I want to talk about, because I want to get it out of the way. When I was 6, 7 years old, I'd come down with chicken pox or measles. I had one of them, I can't remember. Well, I had a brother who was 2 years younger than me, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night one night, hearing my mom and dad rush and yell and going on, and just, I couldn't figure out what was going on, because the bed, they had me in a separate room in a baby bed with the sides that come up, because they didn't want me crawling out in the middle of the night, coming getting in bed with them or the other kids with me with the chicken pox. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And after that, what had happened, what I found out had happened, is my brother, who was 2 years younger than me, had went into epileptic seizure. Never had them before, nothing ever wrong before, no indication of anything. I always wondered if maybe he had gotten the measles or chickenpox, whatever, and the fever or whatever caused it, but I would think that if he had them, my mom and dad would have noticed. But anyway, as he got older, he became autistic, very bad autistic. I remember when he was becoming a teenager, his favorite saying in the whole world was, whenever you tried to tell him what to do or show him what to do or tell him he did wrong, he would look at you and say, "You're not the king." Or he'd say, "You're not the king of the world." That was his way of telling you to stop bossing him around. Well, anyway, as the time went on as a teenager, he became really difficult. And he got kicked out of school and all kinds of things. So my mom tried to find a place to put him where he could learn, you know, to live in society and all of that. And so they sent him to a place called the Arkadelphia Children's Colony in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. And the only time he got to come home was Christmas, you know, holidays. And he would tell my mom that they were mean to him, that he was being abused. And my mom kept him home. She decided not to send him back. Well, when she decided not, he was probably about 14, 15 at that time. And when she had made the decision not to send him back, the state took her to court, and the judge forced her to send him back to the children's colony. Well, in 1980, we got a phone call saying that, I'm sorry, hang on a minute. We had gotten a phone call saying that he had passed away. And the whole story of it was 2 aides, they took the bathrooms that they had bathtubs on both sides of the rooms, and 2 aides took 2 of the boys at once and gave them their baths. Well, the story we got is my brother had splashed water out on the floor, and the aides had went to get a mop. Now, number one, why would if the boys had to have someone to go with them to take the bath, wouldn't it be common sense that you don't leave them alone, period? You would think that those aides would have stayed with them and finished the bath and then went and got the mop afterwards, after the boys were out of the bathtub. Well, both aides left to go get a mop. Both of them. And my question is, why did it take both of them? And how long were they gone? Because when they returned, my brother was face down in the tub and he had drowned. Think about how long it takes you to drown. How, I mean, they think he might have had a seizure and went under, but still, that seems to me like enough time for them to went right next door, got him up, and came back. But why did it take both of them, and why, if you have to accompany someone to take a bath in the first place, would you leave them in that room alone? And why did it take both of them? And I just want to know how long it was gone. But anyway, that's the top thing on my bucket list is the state. My mom and dad was very poor. I was a kid. You know, and my mom and dad were very poor and they couldn't afford it, so the state buried him. But the one good thing was they buried him in a cemetery in the middle of the city, so I know that cemetery is going to be there for 100 years or more. It's not going to be one of these grown up and forgotten. But my bucket list is, back when they buried him, they didn't buy a headstone for him, and neither did my parents. They couldn't afford it. And the cemetery had put up this little, I think it was like an aluminum marker. Of course, over the years it disappeared, and I was young and I couldn't remember a few years later where he was buried because everything had changed. I couldn't find it. There was no marker, no nothing. I couldn't find anybody who knew where it was at. And 40 years has passed. And just in the last 5 years, I found out where he was. Because now they put everything online and you can go in and search the plots and get the name of the people who's buried there. And I finally found him. And on the top of my bucket list, I want to get him a headstone and put there. For 40 years he hasn't had one. He's been just kind of lost out there. And I don't want him to just be a flash in life where he was here in 16 years and then gone and just forgotten and nobody knows he's there. Or, you know, whenever me and my sisters and everything are passed, no one else knows that he's buried there. If there's no marker, no nothing, nobody knows. And I'm just not going to let him vanish. I can't. But anyway, that's on the top of my bucket list. You're going to have to excuse me for just... Anyway, number 2 is, as you can tell by looking at me, I'm Irish. I've always wanted to visit Ireland, and that's pretty high on my list too. I want to visit Ireland before I die. And number 3, I don't know how it started or where it came from, but I've never ever been to the Appalachian Mountains. I don't know anybody up there. I don't know of any family members that's from there. But in the last 10 years, I have just felt a pull, a connection to visit the Appalachian Mountains and the mountain people. And I don't know what it is. But anyway, that's what's on my bucket list, or most of it, the ones I want to talk about anyway. But anyway, I was reading a book. It's called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and this one is a 1987 print. And I love these kind of books, and I have books all over my house, like the one that my camera is sitting on now. Is called The Kidnapping. It's a very old book too. Anyway, I have to tag 3 channels, and the first channel that I want to tag is the Drifter. I love his channel. I just love his channel. And I'd like to tag Giddy Up Gal. I have kind of come to know her a little bit more in the last couple of weeks, and I just think she's sweet. And I'd like to tag Dutch Cabin. Country boy through and through. Arkansas country boy, one of my favorites. But if he sees this, which I'm not going to say he will, but I would like to tag his channel for you guys to do your bucket list. And guys, thank you for sitting, watching, and listening to me. I know I just kind of ramble on a lot of times. But anyway, you guys have a good night. Take care.